Tammie, Barbee. We've been here 2 years. We came to Transformation because of you and your family, and how much we have loved this place. There's something about it. It's very special, and I believe God sent us here. So in 2016, I was experiencing headaches every single day. And I was seeing a neurologist. He was treating me for migraines and all the things, and nothing was working. And in January of 2017, I was at work, and I started what I thought was a stroke. I thought a stroke was happening. My face drooped. I couldn't speak. Things were happening in my body that I had never experienced before. And of course, fear gripped me that day. So that day, I had spent about 9 hours in the emergency room at VCU, and they were going to send me home. They thought I had what they call a TIA, which is just a very minor stroke, may or may not happen again, those kinds of things. They were going to send me home with a follow-up. And an intern walked into the room, and he said, Ms. Barbee, we actually see a shadow on your CAT scan, and we would like to admit you for more tests. And my family was all there, Carl, the kids, everybody was there. And I looked at this little doctor and I said, do you know how to pray? And he nodded kind of sheepishly, and we gathered around my bed that day and we prayed for whatever God's plan was as we prayed. I had 2 spinal taps. I had a 4.5 hour MRI of the entire body. And after 9 days, I got a diagnosis. And at the time, they told me this was a rare condition called sarcoidosis. But what was even more rare for me is that mine was in the brain. So it's neuro. There are only a few thousand people in the United States that have neurosarcoidosis. You know, during those 2 weeks, I was trying to be positive. I've talked to my kids about it. They were all very afraid. They were concerned that they were going to lose their mother. And at the same time, even once we got the diagnosis, the treatment was terrible. I had to get 1,000 milligrams of steroids intravenously every day for 6 days. That was the only way that they could quickly bring down all the inflammation that they found in the brain. I wanted my life to be normal, you know? I couldn't drive. At the time, I was pretty limited to even what I was able to do on my job. And the other fear is it coming back? You know, what's going to happen? Am I going to just have this one episode and life will go on and things will be rosy? But at the same time, that is not what happened. And I had 2 really bad episodes again in October and November of 2019. Carl and I got in the car and drove to Cleveland, Ohio, because we found a specialist there. And even during that time, he was hopeful, but not able to give me, okay, this is never going to happen again, or this is never going to be a situation. And, you know, he explained that I had a lot of scar tissue and things like that still have to heal. And, you know, how long is that going to take? You know, all those things. So it's troubling. I was having a hard time even being able to do simple things. I remember my kids saying to me, Mom, we don't even want you turning the stove on, because I would forget I turned it on. I went to fill out some paperwork for work, and I couldn't remember my birthday. It was a rough time.
That's tough.
And they put me on a second medication that caused me to shake. I would sit on my couch and my whole body would shake. And Carl finally said, no, we're not doing this anymore. We're calling the doctor tomorrow. But I remember the day, him sitting in front of me, and he said, I was afraid you'd never be normal again. So this was one of those moments. I was sitting on my couch every day, not driving, not working, not being able to function normally, wondering if I was ever going to be normal again. And my husband went out the door that day, and he looked at me and he said, "What is your favorite Bible verse?" And I said, "Well, my chapter is Psalm 91. And he said, "I want you to read that today. I want you to read it over and over and over." So I sat on my couch and I started reading it, and I started memorizing. And I can tell you that there was a moment that day. Now, physically, nothing changed that day. But I can tell you that day, as I sat on my couch and I read that psalm, "He that dwells in the secret place shall abide in the shadow of the Almighty. And I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my strength. In Him will I trust." As I started reading that out loud and declaring it out loud, there was a peace that overcame me. And again, nothing changed. My physical circumstances did not change. But that day, I got what I believe is a confidence that I was going to be okay.
If someone is watching in a season where they don't have any answers yet, what would you want them to know about God?
There's a song. Here's what I want people to know. There's a line in this song, and it says, "If it's not good, then He's not done." God's not done. Now, am I walking in health right now? I am. And I'm declaring that as long as I can, God, as long as I can, keep me here. But if I have another episode tomorrow, He's still got me. He's still got me.
Yeah.
And I was sharing recently that I was sitting in the infusion center. I was getting my infusion, and I heard somebody ring the bell. And all this cheering was happening, and I knew that meant for them that was their last treatment. And I sat there in my chair, and I had a moment of, I will never get to ring that bell. I will have to get a monthly infusion for the rest of my life. But this is what I know. God is in control. And I have to trust Him. I have to trust Him with every single part of my life. And I tell you today that whatever happens tomorrow, I know He's got me. And whatever that looks like, I'm going to trust Him. I think in order to be strong in the Lord and having any kind of courage at all, being strong and courageous, as the scripture would say, He is my rock. He is my fortress. And I think about times in my life where God has been there. Tough, heavy times, and God has been there. My devotion this morning was in James, and it said this: "Every good and perfect gift comes from Him who does not change. There is no shadow of turning." And so even if I change, even if my body doesn't do what I want it to do, God does not change. I have to trust that. And I will walk the road. I will not be happy about it, but I will walk the road with His strength. I will. And I know He holds my hand. I know He does.